All right, buckle up for your AI news flash. This week, the numbers are they're so big they almost don't feel real. We're talking about a full-on war for intelligence, and guess what? It's not just about code anymore. It's about raw, physical power. Welcome to The Explainer. We're going to break down the biggest headlines, and we have to start with this one deal. A deal with a price tag so massive, it's basically reshaping the whole industry. After that, we'll get into the new brains behind it all. The next-gen models are here, and wow, they are pushing the limits of what we even thought was possible. And to wrap it up, we're going to look at how these incredibly powerful tools are showing up on the world stage, moving from the server farm to the actual battlefield. Okay, let's get right into it. The biggest story this week. It's not about some fancy new algorithm. It's about the real world. It's about the brute force, physical hardware that's needed to power all this new intelligence. $100 billion. I mean, just let that sink in. That's the absolutely staggering size of a new infrastructure commitment between Amazon and Anthropic. This is so much more than an investment. It's like a bet the size of a small country's GDP on the future of computing. It's a huge, huge shift in the AI arms race. And when you look at the details, you see just how physical this war for AI has become. We're not just talking about money here. Anthropic needed to lock down the power equivalent of 5 nuclear power plants. Why? Because their demand for compute was growing so fast, it was literally breaking everything they had. So this is a fight for raw electricity and for the chips themselves. And hey, they're not the only ones. Not by a long shot. Meta just dropped another $21 billion in a deal with CoreWeave. That brings their total spend to over $35 billion. Zuckerberg is just stockpiling computing power, betting that our need for it is going to be basically infinite. So what's the big takeaway here? It's that the game has completely changed. The main thing holding back AI progress isn't a lack of smart ideas or even data anymore. Nope, it's electricity, just pure, raw power. Okay, so with all that power, what are they building? Let's talk about the new models, because the next generation of AI, well, it's here. First up, OpenAI just dropped GPT-5. The huge deal with this one, it's natively multimodal. That means it doesn't just handle text, images, and audio, it actually reasons across all of them from the ground up. Plus, it's grounded in real-time web searches, which is a direct attack on that pesky hallucination problem we're always talking about. But Anthropic wasn't just going to sit back. They released Claude 4, and this thing is an absolute beast when it comes to specialized tasks. I mean, scoring in the 95th percentile on the bar exam is pretty wild, right? But placing in the top 1% of competitive programmers, that shows a kind of logical reasoning that is just on another level. And this really shows you the two different paths these companies are taking. OpenAI seems to be going for that universal answer-anything tool that's grounded in facts. Meanwhile, Anthropic is just pushing the absolute boundaries of what an expert AI can do in really specific, really difficult fields. So all this power is great for the big labs, but how does it actually get to us? Well, let's talk about your web browser, because it just got a serious promotion. Google has rolled out this new thing in Chrome called Skills. Basically, you can save any prompt you write as a kind of reusable workflow. So instead of typing, "summarize this article for me" a million times, you can just save it as a skill and trigger it with a simple command, even across a bunch of different tabs. What this really does is turn your browser into a basic AI agent. We're finally moving past just having a simple chat box. This is about creating automated workflows that can work across the web for you. It's a fundamental change in how we're going to interact with the internet. And it's not just about text and getting work done either. The creative world is getting a huge dose of this AI power too. We're talking about putting tools that used to belong in a Hollywood studio right into an app on your phone. You know that super popular video editor CapCut? Well, they just did something kind of insane. They integrated both OpenAI's Sora 2 and Google's Veo 3.1 right into the app, for free. This means millions and millions of people now have access to two of the most advanced AI video generators on the planet, right there in the tool they already use. But look, with all this incredible power, there are obviously some really serious consequences. And we're starting to see AI play a huge role on the global stage. I'm talking moving out of the lab and onto the front lines of conflict. The recent conflict in the Middle East has really become a testbed for AI in warfare. This isn't a what-if scenario from a movie anymore. It's happening now, and it's raising some incredibly tough questions for all of us. One of the biggest stories to come out of this is the reported use of an AI system called Lavender. From what we understand, this system sifts through enormous amounts of data. We're talking drone footage, communications, you name it, to help automate parts of the targeting process. It's operating at a speed and scale that just completely changes how military decisions are made.
And seriously, this is not science fiction. There are reports of everything from hacking traffic lights to disrupt a city, to hijacking a state TV broadcast to air propaganda. Drones are using AI to navigate and find targets. This is the new reality of conflict, where the battle over data and code is just as important as the battle on the ground.
Okay, so when you take a step back and you look at all this news, the money, the models, the real-world applications, two really big, connected trends start to pop out. They kind of define this whole moment in AI. First, you have the rise of what people are calling sovereign AI. Because this tech is becoming so essential, nations are scrambling to build their own AI systems so they don't have to rely on the US or China. You see it everywhere, even in NVIDIA launching its new agent in South Korea first. And the second big trend? We're rapidly moving from simple AI assistants to true autonomous agents, AIs that can actually carry out complex, multi-step tasks all on their own. So from the $100 billion hunt for electricity to the dawn of AI agents in our browsers, the speed of all this is just getting faster. The question isn't if AI will change the world anymore. The real question is, how are we all going to navigate this world that's being rebuilt right in front of us? I'm curious, which one of these stories do you think is the biggest deal? Let us know in the comments.